Hi, it's Trevor Emden here with Attract Money Miracles Coaching Session 6, our last meeting in this little mini coaching program I've put together. So slight tinge of sadness about that, but I hope you've found it worthwhile. So no mind map today, because today's session is called Kick Back and Sunbathe. Even if it's pouring with rain outside or there's 6 inches of snow, you can still do this step. Okay, your cheat sheet will be ready for you in the members area in the Facebook group, so just go and download that. So why no mind map? Well, because really kick back and sunbathe sounds like there's nothing to actually do, which is how it is. But there's a problem, or there may be a problem. If you really can kick back and sunbathe, I don't know if you can see the picture of the seal there lying on a rock. You'll see it when you get your cheat sheet anyway. And I used him in the webinar that you attended as well, because he's just in such bliss. You can just see on his face, he's just having such a great time. If you can be like that, then you're fine. The problem is most of us can't. So you've been through the steps, you've cleaned your sunglasses, which means you've focused on what's working, what you're grateful for. You've shifted your focus. Great. You've figured out what you've panned for gold, and you've figured out what the emotional connection is. You've planted the seeds and got into the gap in your thoughts, and you've planted that seed of desire, and then you've added weed killer to the doubts. Great. It should all work now. Except what many of us are likely to do, yours truly included, what we're likely to do is to go back into old habits. Now, old habits of thought, old habits of feeling, and I want to tell you today that you have a choice. You always have a choice, of course, about many things. And I told you right back in step 1 that you have a choice about what you think about, what you focus on. That's what cleaning your sunglasses is about. But you also have a choice about how you live. And that choice is really that you can live in fear or you can live in faith. Now, faith's an interesting word. It has kind of religious overtones to it, and I don't need you to be religious, and I don't need you to not be religious. It has nothing to do with that. I don't mean it in that sense. So I've made no notes today, other than I've drafted the cheat sheet, of course, but I've made no notes because I want to express to you that even what I'm talking about, that I am talking at all, is an act of faith. You see, when you have a conversation with someone, let's suppose you're walking down the street and you meet someone who asks you a question, maybe a stranger, maybe someone says, oh, that's a really nice jacket you're wearing. Could you tell me where you got it? Or how do you get to such and such a place? They want directions. Or something else. People get stopped in the street for all kinds of reasons these days. Questionnaires, market research, who knows what. Or maybe you meet an old friend. Hey, how are you doing? Now, you don't know that encounter is going to happen. And when they ask you the question, whatever they ask you about, is a total surprise. Now, you don't have to go away and say, well, hold on a minute while I compose an answer to that. You just answer them like that. Now, I don't understand how that happens, and I'm not sure if anybody does. I'm sure there are people who've studied it to greater depth than I have. But you think what happens when you're in a conversation, you have like a flash, a flicker of a concept in your head, and you are then able to express that entire idea, what you mean, I know sometimes we get misunderstood and we have arguments with people and so on, but in that moment, you believe that you're expressing your meaning in a way that other people can receive and understand exactly what you mean. That's the actual literal meaning of the words, the metaphorical meaning of the words, your emotional intention behind your words. And of course, you express yourself with body language and so on too, of course. But you can do that in a heartbeat, less than a heartbeat. You don't have to type out all the words in your head before you can say something. It's spontaneous. It's a process we trust. We have faith in it. That's the kind of faith I'm talking about. And so I know the concept of what I want to say to you today. And it is essentially that. You can live in fear or you can live in faith. But also I wanted to talk to you from that without prompting myself with a mind map. Because really all you have to do is let go. There's a little Zen haiku poem that I like that says in English, sitting quietly, doing nothing, the grass grows by itself. Now, when I first saw that poem, I was probably 17 years old, something like that. And I remember thinking, yeah, so, of course the grass grows by itself. But now I understand it at a different level. The grass growing by itself means there's nothing you need to do. There is no struggle in nature. There are no problems in nature. Watch it. Watch the comings and goings of the seasons. Watch any wildlife documentary to see how animals live perfectly at peace. You know, you can see a group of wildebeest or gazelles or something passively grazing until a lion appears. Then they panic. Then they're in fear. But then as soon as that's dealt with, whether the lion successfully catches and kills one of them or not, they get on with their day. It's over. Right? Now, I'm not suggesting that you should be going around in fear of your life from being preyed on by some hungry lion, or whatever the modern equivalent in our country and city lives would be. But people do. Most people are doing that, living in that kind of a way, not just if the lion appears or when the lion appears, but all the time, in case the lion appears. If the gazelles lived like that, they would say to each other, we better not go out and eat any grass today. There might be a lion out there. Well, then we'll be hungry. Yeah, well, we might die if we go out there. What if the lions come? Well, yeah, but what if they don't? Most days the lions don't come, and even when they do, quite often they don't catch any of us, and even when they do, 99% of us escape free. There's nothing you can do about the comings and goings of natural forces. The seasons will change. There will be stormy days and there will be calm days. You know, the late great Jim Rohn used to say, if you don't know who he is, R-O-H-N, Jim Rohn, look him up. Marvelous, marvelous speaker. He used to say that it's not which way the wind blows that determines whether you'll reach your destination. It's the set of your sail. In other words, a lot of boats can all set off together. A lot of yachts, let's say, sailboats, can set off together to get to the same place, let's say in a race. Now, whether there's a wind or not, whether there's a storm or not, whichever way the wind blows, even if it's blowing that way and you're trying to go that way, the sailors, the good ones, still know how to tackle all those conditions. It's the set of your sail that makes the difference, not which way the wind blows. There will always be political change. There will always be personal change. There will always be any kind of change you can name. You are the resource. You make it happen, and you can choose what you focus on, what you believe in, what you think about, what decisions you make. Now, here's the thing. If you decide to, you've been through this program now, you decide, it was quite interesting, probably doesn't work. That's fine. I can't stop you from doing that. I'm not here to persuade you one way or the other. I'm simply saying, why would you do that? Because actually, when you think about it, what you're saying is, I don't have faith in that, but I do have faith in negativity. I have faith in things not working out. In the cheat sheet, you'll see that I've said, we have faith in science. These days, we live in a culture that reveres science. Has it been tested? Has it been proved? Can it be demonstrated in a laboratory? Can it be repeated? No. It can't be repeated. How can it be repeated? It can't be proved. This is not provable. This is subjective experience. So you can't prove this scientifically. And yet science doesn't understand why we're here. We know some things about evolution and natural selection, and we understand the building blocks of life, carbon-based life forms and all of that. We understand that. But the very bottom line of how come we exist, how come there's life at all? No, science doesn't know that. We're not supposed to be here. Things are supposed to fall apart, entropy, and yet we are here. We are here. The planet spins 1,000 miles an hour on its axis every day, circling the sun at I can't remember how many thousands of miles a second, to go around it once every year. The solar system, all the planets and the stars and the energy from the sun, all in balance all the time. The galaxy, which turns out to be one of millions and millions of galaxies amongst billions and billions of stars, none of which is supposed to be here. Energy isn't supposed to do that. It's supposed to fall apart. But not only does it not fall, well, it does fall apart, but before it falls apart, it comes together. And it doesn't just do that once. I mean, if there'd been one universe and it was all just, we know it's expanding, but if it was expanding and dissipating and like one day there'll be no universe, that would kind of be understandable, but that isn't happening either. It's renewing itself over and over and over again, just like we are, just like other species do. Life comes and life goes. There's an ebb and a flow. Science doesn't really understand that. We're still trying to figure that out. The science we have faith in does not understand even why you're here or what you are. Science is still trying to find out. Read up about the Hadron Collider. I think that's what it's called in Switzerland, the CERN Institute. Trying to figure out how matter is made by colliding particles together at incredible speeds. Now, they have discovered lots of stuff, but they have never created a new particle from other particles. Why not? Because matter doesn't come from matter. Matter comes from energy, and no one knows where energy comes from. No one knows. Your thoughts are energy. You can direct that energy. See, it's like you've got your own internal power station and your own internal toaster, if you like, or lamp, or TV, or computer, or whatever you want to plug in to that power station. If you had electricity coming into your home and it was just bare wires, and you walk through the front door and just went everywhere you went, you would think, well, what do I do with all this? It's a bit dangerous. But it isn't like that. It's been carefully hidden and wired through the walls and stuff. And you have power outlets, sockets in the walls and in the kitchen and all over the place, so that you can plug in any gadget you like. As long as it runs on electricity and it's in working order, creates a circuit, so it's got a positive and a negative, it will work. So if you want to make toast, you plug in your toaster. If you want to make coffee, you plug in your kettle. If you want to watch TV, you plug in your TV or your computer these days, maybe even your phone, right? But you see what I mean? You have the power to choose, how do I use the energy that I can generate? And you have thought energy you can generate. So why would you use it to focus on what doesn't work? All I can say to you is the old thing of, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Why would you continue to follow old patterns of thinking and feeling when, at least in the realm of your finances, they've got you where you are today? Because you wouldn't be here if you didn't want at least more from your financial life. You want more money, right? So the way to get it is to believe in you and to believe in this, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Faith or fear? Fear of it not working out, fear of things going wrong. Things don't go wrong on the whole. I know things have gone not according to plan in everyone's life. Some things that are out of our control, and some things that we perhaps could have done differently personally. We all have that. The things that are out of your control, you accept. That's out of my control. I can't control if there's a storm today, or if my goldfish died. I don't have a control over that. But my own thoughts and feelings, I have control over that. I have control over how I react. Oh, you know, I was building my empire and a storm came and blew it down. Now, what should I do? Should I choose to react by saying, I give up? It's pointless. If I do that, another storm might come. The lion might come and eat me. Or, okay, I need to figure out how to rebuild and how to build it stronger in case another storm comes this time. Let's learn from it. So it's not about plain sailing. It's the set of your sail, to paraphrase Jim Rohn, bless him. Okay, so that's how you kick back and sunbathe. You catch yourself in the act. So what I want you to do as we draw this program to a close, go back through all the other steps. Start with clean your sunglasses. Do the steps, make it part of your routine. You've got them all now. So this doesn't need to be spread out over a long period of time. You can put them all together. They, you know, once you remember the sequence of them, well, you don't even have to do them in sequence actually. But just catch yourself doing them and do them every day. Clean your sunglasses is shift your focus to things that are working, what you're grateful for, what's working in your life. Look, something is. Don't ever tell me everything's going wrong, because the fact that you're sitting there and you're able to conceptualize that thought and express it tells me something's taking care of you. You're having a conversation, even if it's inside your own head, not with me, and you're having thoughts and feelings. You're alive. Something's taking care of you physically. Your blood is circulating, your heart is beating, your food gets digested, waste gets eliminated, fingernails are growing, all by themselves. Something's taking care of all of that, and many more things. So shift your focus. Reconnect with your emotion of gratitude, first of all, and then of the desire. It's like, yeah, this is important to me. If it's not important to you, that's fine. Acknowledge that, let go, move on. Because it's probably not going to show up. Things that are important to you, things that truly make a difference to your life, those are the things you keep focusing on all the time, but don't keep focusing on the lack of them. The lack of them is fine. When you notice, that's fine, because it's just a guidepost, it's a pointer. It's your GPS system, it's your sat nav, whatever you call that, to tell you something's out of whack. So shift, oh, right, okay, I need to take care of that. You know, I've said before, if you get a physical pain, you go, I need to take care of that. I need to put a Band-Aid on it, a plaster, or I need to see the doctor, or I need to take a pill, or I need to see the physio, whatever it is. And it's the same with an emotional ping. Ow, that doesn't feel right. Okay, I need to take care of that. And what it's telling you to do is to focus on what you want. You know, check out a guy called Neville Goddard, but he used to just call himself Neville. He died in the 1970s, I think. But he was a great teacher of spiritual, metaphysical ideas. He had incredible insights. And in one of his books are, you can still get his book, quite a lot of them you can get free because they're out of copyright. But if you just check him out, just Google Neville Goddard, Goddard. And in one of his books, I don't remember which one now, he explained the biblical story of Jesus encouraging us to turn the other cheek. And I had never understood that story before I heard or read this interpretation of it. Because I'd always thought, you know, if thine enemy smite thee, turn the other cheek. So the enemy goes like that, and you're supposed to go on in and hear that one. It's like, no, you're all right. Thanks, that hurts enough. But that's not, according to Neville, the meaning of the story. And I can't remember Neville's words. He wrote beautifully and very eloquently. But the meaning that I got from it was this. When something's making you look at what's not working, so when an enemy smite thee, turn the other cheek, it's like there's something happening in life that's hurting me. Look that way to look at the other end of the spectrum, because everything's a polarity, right? So if you're saying, that hurts that I don't have enough money, then look that way to see what life looks like with surplus money. And focus on that. All that's doing is telling you something's out of whack. I need to look that way, because there's the fact that you've noticed the lack of it means that you can now imagine the having of it. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. And you have that choice. So why would you keep in your mind focusing on it doesn't work, it's not happening, it's never worked before, I still don't have it, none of this stuff makes any sense? Why would you keep doing that when you can look that way and say, well, you know what? If I just keep on imagining that it's happening to me and I feel good inside, and I use all those steps that Trevor Emden taught me, what have you got to lose? So in closing, having said what have you got to lose, I'd like to tell you about Pascal's wager and invite you to take it. Blaise Pascal was a 17th century French philosopher and physicist, I think. And he was trying to figure out whether God existed or not. And he realized that because God was invisible and intangible, that no amount of reasoning was going to solve that problem. He was a scientist, but he was also a philosopher. You can't figure that out with reason. You can't scientifically prove it. He got that. This is 400 years ago. And so he proposed a wager. He said, in some sort of old-fashioned French, I suppose, let's wager on whether God exists or not. And you might as well wager that God does exist. Because if you're right, everything will come to you. And if you're wrong, you lose nothing. Have faith, whether you call it God or the universe or universal intelligence or Mother Nature or Louise, I don't care. Something's making it all happen. And it isn't me, and it isn't you. So let it flow. I'd love to hear from you. Please post in the Facebook group. I'm sure our paths will cross again. Please let me know your success stories with your money and your attracting of it. And I wish you well. Thank you very, very much for being part of this program. And I hope that we meet again. And I look forward to seeing you on the way to the top. This is Trevor Emden signing off. Bye for now.